Hello dear listeners, I just want to record a short video just answering your questions. It was recently I was asked what's my view about eating right and what does eating right means to me and what do I understand and think about all these ideas about a right lifestyle, so to speak, exercise and doing different yoga and tai chi and etc. and breathing practices, etc., etc. So firstly, I think just like in anything else, people could get carried away in the concept of eating right or doing right exercise or the amount of exercise. But I think it's a crucially important factor for a wholesome development of a human being. To detect exactly what is your body type and according to what age and what exactly you are going through. And this is something that I mention a lot during the private sessions. As much as a person could come with like a complicated family issue or a complicated maybe personal issue that they are going through, most of the time I address the physical kind of aspect to a person because I strongly believe it's not two separate things. Like people really treat it like it's a separate thing. What I eat, it's irrelevant to what I go through. But actually in the way I screen, if we could say that, energetically or intuitively, it comes up that it's actually very much connected. A person could say, I'm experiencing issues in relationship, but I don't want to look into what exercise I do and what I eat and how clean my life is and what exactly happens to my sleep. I just want to solve my issues with this specific person. But really, it's all interconnected. We are one. And in us as a body and as a person and as a soul, it's all mixed in. So I do think what we eat affects what scenarios we attract, which people we attract, how much we exercise and how much we invest in our practices and disciplines and how much we devote ourselves there. I think it creates a certain mindset that a person reacts in a certain way or does certain things. It definitely affects us. So if you deal with anger, for instance, if a person is trying to uproot the anger, I would definitely say more green and less meat, because meat stimulates anger and gives a person this like very kind of reactive personality or reactive persona that you are dealing with. And if you exercise a lot but you eat very weakly, like you diet a lot and you kind of don't eat meat and don't eat a good protein and source of protein, you won't have motivation and you're not gonna be able to focus, and all of those things are important. So when a person comes to me and asks me a question, how do I solve this problem, like how come this and this doesn't come into my life and how come that and that comes instead of good things, I always attract some like complicated situations. I like to look at the wholesome picture, and it's important to know that a person for the certain age does move enough, because movement burns out certain repetitive kind of programs and repetitive patterns, burns out, especially if you walk outside and in nature. And it's not only for looking good, and it's not only for staying fit, and it's not only for attraction, it's actually for your mental and emotional state. It's important to move enough for your body type and for your age and for the processes that you're going through. You cannot solve certain problems if a person decides to neglect completely how they eat, where they eat, with whom they eat. That's also a huge exchange. When you eat in the presence of a person that is angry or upset or not satisfied, you take those energies. It's important to understand that as well, and be sensitive and be aware of those things, and be kind to yourself, to provide a clean setting and kind of relaxed environment when you consume food. And when you do decide to follow certain eating habits, please measure and understand that if you exercise or you don't exercise, your food intake should be accordingly kind of selected. And when you're at a certain age, that's also important to understand that, let's say you're a mother with 3 kids and you're running around and you're helping around the house, or you're a single woman and you don't have any kids, or your kids already grown up and you are 45, 50 years old, the diets cannot be like on a level of competition, or this blogger spoke about this and this amount of food and this amount of like healthy supplements. You are a completely different world, and you need to be treated very individually. And how often do you take massages and you do different activities, and you stretch your body and you do it yourself, or you go to different clubs or studios, etc., etc. This all is a wholesome kind of complete thing. But definitely what we eat affects our emotions, affects our mental processes. Sometimes I just don't answer at the session and I say, how about you start walking if you don't have money for like a gym or a yoga studio or Tai Chi studio, etc., or you don't have time for it. You regularly walk. And a lot of people that do take walks, they either walk slow or they don't walk enough, and that also creates like a waste of time, and actually there is no effect. Certain bodies need to move completely, like a full body movement when you walk. Some people move only their legs but not their upper body when they walk. But in upper body we store most of our stuck programs and a kind of confusions and conflicts, and all of this have to be in motions. Your arms, your shoulders, your whole upper body has to be involved when you're walking, and it has to be a full body kind of full-on walking, not just like a relaxed garden walk, you know what I mean? And when I tell people for a week or 10 days, you're going to take those walks and you're not going to take less than 2.5 hours of your walk, and let's see what thoughts you're going to start getting instead of the thoughts that you have now. So instead of me telling them what to think and they force themselves to think that way, most natural way is to start moving certain patterns from your body, burning them out in a way, through eating right, eating lots of greens, eating clean food, eating less certain food that your body has hard time digesting or processing, and freeing your body from spending energy on that. And then you are free to let go of certain patterns and invite newer patterns that will serve you better. And believe it or not, as much as coaches, life coaches and psychologists and therapists would only process mentally, I believe, and I'm a strong believer of that, if you process and understand and kind of like try and see what fits your needs more, what will make you more motivated, what you make you more excited, even enough to declutter your house, enough motivation to to start something new that you always postpone, enough to learn a new kind of ideas and discipline, or a certain style of communication, integrate certain style of communication. All that needs energy. So we either free that energy from something that is digesting physically and mentally long term and is wasted, your energy is wasted on digesting those things, whether it's mental patterns or it's a physical food or a lack of proper movement. You free that energy in order to be able to do certain things. I see quite often young people get stuck with like one concept: I want a relationship, and they get frozen on all the other levels, right? So they're like creatively not expressed, they are not maturing, they're not learning, they're not developing, there's no new skills that they're learning, they're just constantly thinking about new relationship. But really, a new relationship is waiting for you to upgrade yourself. Maybe your new relationship is waiting for a new upgraded you, a new kind of shifted you, a new you that discovered something new about yourself, whether it's on your physical level or a mental level or emotional level or spiritual level. You kind of, as much as you want new relationship, you hold yourself back by not developing yourself enough or changing yourself enough, convincing in an old pattern that like 4 years ago or 5 years ago you were convinced that would serve you, but you already understand that this pattern doesn't serve you. It could be you were convinced that you should never eat meat, or you were convinced that you should only eat a lot of meat, etc., etc. Instead, you constantly check in and you constantly see, did it serve me? Did it change me? Did it help me change? Since I introduced this knowledge or this discipline or this idea or this behavior system, how much did I progress? And really constantly evaluate and just say, oh, I actually did not change. In fact, I maybe went back in certain ideas or certain behavior system, etc. So it's important to always be in motion, try new things, see if it suits you, drop them, don't get stuck if they don't suit you. You never wrote a contract between you being kind of like I don't know, a good walker for 2.5 hours a day for a lifetime. If walking doesn't serve you anymore, then you introduce a new system of moving your body or spending your body energy daily. But definitely nature, movement, adjusting your eating habits, when you eat, how you sleep, how well you sleep. It's crucially important for our mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being. And I think a lot of people are like in that mode of waiting. Something is supposed to happen. I'm supposed to be granted with ABC, and I'm waiting for somebody to show up. I'm waiting for somebody to help me to bring something into my life. It's not gonna happen. Some of your parts is not involved, and that's why it's on hold. Try to answer your question and say, which part is on hold that is, so to speak, holding me back from receiving certain things. Universe, God, world does not have shortage in a way, you know, it has everything for us. And if you start understanding it this way and you start thinking it this way, It's not up to external something to give me. It's up to me preparing myself and making myself equipped enough to receive it, right? Waiting to get and be able to receive, and knowing that I'm going to be more capable of receiving because it's always out there. It's always available for me. I'm just not able to receive it. I don't have the instruments. I don't have the tools. I don't have capacity. And expanding that capacity is looking at yourself on all levels of maturity. You're not only spiritual, you're not only physical, you're not only mental, you're not only emotional. You're all of those things. And all of those things are important factors. So when people just like put down, so to speak, it doesn't matter whether you eat greens or drink a green smoothie every day. It doesn't really matter how much you walk. Look at these other people, they're successful without taking long walks or doing yoga or lifting weights, etc. It looks to you on outside, so like if you look at 30 seconds Instagram stories, that they're just successful. But what brought them to that success, you have no idea. Maybe there's a bunch of therapists and challenges and some integration of some sports and a very developed sport discipline. I strongly believe that success comes from being in touch with your body, understanding your body, being connected to your body, not just assuming the body does its own thing, I do my own thing. Like a lot of ladies I hear say, oh, it's natural to gain weight after you're 40. I think it is harder to lose weight, and I think it's harder to maintain your natural and healthy weight, but it's definitely not impossible, and it's not a matter of fact that you're supposed to gain weight. A lot of people that stay fit and stay connected to their body, they move not only in order to look good, but they actually understand the benefit on a mental and emotional level. Because when you're 45, you go through a lot of emotional shifts, you go through a lot of mental shifts. And yes, your body takes on that difficulty and collects weight at a different part of your body. But it doesn't mean it's supposed to do that. If you help your body process those emotional and mental kind of changes that happens, especially in a woman's body, then your body does not need to accumulate extra weight and water and whatnot. So I definitely believe it's not a one written program for all. You all have to walk a lot, you all have to do yoga, and you all have to exercise, and you all have to be vegetarians. But I strongly believe that it's something to pay attention and something to be aware and something to be constantly connected to, and shift as you need and integrate those things that you think might help you. Step out from things that don't help you. Try new things. Stick with those that actually serve you now. And really stay connected. Don't be religiously kind of attached to any of this. You know, certain meditations, if you did for 45 years, maybe it doesn't work anymore. Maybe a different set of meditation will serve you better. So it's not a religion about eating or moving or meditating or praying or working with one specific therapist. It's about here and now. It's about this current moment, what serves you and what doesn't. I know about in 2000, I think 12 till about 2021 or 2020, 2019, I was extreme. I was a raw eater. I ate only raw and organic fresh fruits and vegetables and a little bit of nuts and seeds. And that served my system so well. Like I truly felt I decluttered all I accumulated through all the pregnancies and post-pregnancies and post-delivery, all those unnecessary kind of stored fat and water and all the programs, my mental and emotional. So I decluttered in a way a lot. But then I understood there has to be a period in my life that I actually was preparing to get pregnant again, and I intuitively felt I need to increase more richer food and more like meaty kind of food. And then there was a period where I actually felt I needed to step out of it again. As you live a certain period of your life, you know exactly what you need. You know exactly what you need to separate yourself from, apart from, for this period in order to help yourself process at most this exactly scenarios that you're living through. And a good therapist and a good coach could help you adjust that without any religious attachments, without any belief systems for lifetime that people get stuck with. It's important to be tuned in, and it's important to be aware of all those elements. I don't believe if a person never moves and never eats well for their body type could solve their deep psychological or mental or emotional patterns. And I strongly seen and really witnessed when a lot of people started exercising regularly and started eating better, much better than they did before. A lot of things in their life just happened. Those things that they were really stuck with and suffered from. It does affect, and it's my personal opinion and my personal experience, and I hope this helps and answers those questions that you are asking me. Thank you all so much for listening. Please share this video if you find it interesting or you know who might find it interesting. We have a YouTube video as well where I eventually put all those videos there. Ask your questions. I would love to answer all your questions and be in touch.